We're the Beach family, and we're transforming our 1983 MCI tour bus into a home on wheels. Join us as we renovate our lives and take on the adventure of a lifetime. Today we're going to show you what steps we took to frame out our windows and cover the walls in our bus conversion. Before we could do anything, we had to remove the remaining hardware on the walls, which included the window release system. These rails flip up, causing the window latches to release, and we plan to replace them with something made of wood later. With the rails out of the way, we were finally able to access what remained of the wall ventilation ducts. These were riveted in place but snapped off easily with a little effort.
Little heart, both hands.
There you go.
Can't even light it up.
You're going the wrong angle. No, you get that.
What?
We'll add all this to our metal pile bound for the scrapyard. A little grinding and everything was ready to go. Now that everything was cleared away, I was finally able to give the window trim the cleaning it was begging for. Years of grime were built up in every nook and cranny, but I wanted a nice clean canvas before we started framing out the windows. In order to create a clean and consistent shape around the windows, we traced the window curves on a piece of foam board. We used our sketch to create an eye-shaped template out of MDF, and we sanded that down until we were happy with the fit. We tested this on multiple windows since no two windows seemed to be the exact same. These pieces follow the curve of the window all the way around to the window latches. This left us a nice straight cut to fill in on the top and the bottom. Once we were happy with our template, we traced it out on 3/4 inch plywood. We rough cut these out of plywood with a jigsaw. We needed a total of 8 eye-shaped pieces that filled in the gaps between two windows. Once we had all of our cuts done, we secured each piece to our template and used our router to trim it down to size. To make things easier, we built a jig and screwed it to our table to provide support. We also needed to create 8 half eyes that would go in the spaces where the windows ended and in the area where we were blocking out a window near the bedroom. We cut all these out as well and routed them down to size. The last pieces we needed were straight boards to fill in the spaces on the top and the bottom. And now it was time to sand. And sand. And sand some more. There was so much sawdust at this point, I think even our chickens were confused.
Wrong sawdust. That's sawdust, not me.
Now with everything cut and sanded, it was time to install. We installed the eye and the half eye shapes first, taking care to get everything as lined up as we could. Though the window holes are the same size, the aged rubber trim made each opening a little bit different, so we did the best we could to get them even. Once they were installed, it was time to go back and fill in the blanks. Straight cuts were placed at the top of the window as well as the area between the latch mechanisms on the bottom. Each piece had to be custom fit into its spot and trimmed down or sanded to a perfect fit. There are some imperfections, of course, but all in all, we are happy with the result. Now it was time to insulate and cover the walls with paneling, but first we wanted to fill in all the open gaps from the underfloor vents with plywood and tape off the seams on the ground with insulation tape. We ended up using a 1-inch foam sheeting to insulate the walls, and even though the trim around the windows was made using a 3/4 inch plywood, it sat a little high due to the rubber trim beneath it, and this 1-inch foam ended up lining up perfectly.
Let's go cut the first one.
To cover the walls, we used a 1/4 inch utility panel that we found at Lowe's. It was made of wood instead of particle board, and we figured that would hold up better with moisture.
Yeah? Uh-huh.
That's how much wrong it is.
Why?
You moved it, because you moved it.
This was a bit of an uh-oh moment. We hadn't expected the paneling to splinter as bad as it did.
The other side's a nice cut though. So this one just have to be the left side.
Luckily, the side that was going to be exposed looked good, and we were able to sand down the edges and make them work.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the boards at 32.5 because when I measure this down here, ooh, it's not 32.5. So that's a good thing we came and measured these again because it's not 32.5.
Because of the slight incline of the floor throughout the bus, each panel ended up being a different size. As you can see here, the panels ranged in height over the span of about a 2-inch difference. Once we had all the panels cut, we dry fit them in place, and we took a moment to notch out where the window latches hit. To conserve materials, we used full sheets of paneling for the bottom of the walls, and we pieced together the areas around the windows. We attached these with construction adhesive and a nail gun before going back and routering out the window curves. 90% of the bottom half of the wall will be hidden by cabinets in some form or fashion. The seam below the window will be behind a new window rail and hidden from sight. A little wood filler and sanding, and these walls will be ready for paint. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe to follow our journey. You may also find us on Instagram and Facebook or follow our blog at www.renovatedbuslife.com.